My name is Tyler, and today I will be showing you some of the stuff that I made in art class this year. So, I was originally going to review all of the artworks that I did in high school, but then I realized that that was an awful idea to do because there were a few problems to doing that. First off, I'm a really busy guy. Second off, it probably would take me a long time to finish. And thirdly, I have way too much storage on my phone. Thankfully, my art teacher told us that we could do a minimum of 4 pictures. So I'm going to review all of my self-portraits from my first days in art class to my last days in art class. And we have like 4 portraits, so yeah. So to start off, we have this. Yeah, so before I knew how to draw realistic faces, I used to draw everything with a more cartoony look to them. And looking at this now just feels kind of weird. The art doesn't look too bad, but there are a few things that can be changed about it so it can look more realistic and appealing. Both of the ears look very uneven within size and proportion. Like one ear looks bigger than the other. The chin also looks very small as well, being covered up by most of the character's mouth and a little bit of a soul patch over there. Also, the forehead could be a little bigger. And yeah, all in all, this drawing just looks alright. So next up, you have a comparison between 2 self-portraits. One of the portraits is supposed to look cartoony, and the other one is supposed to look more realistic. Now, looking at the drawing on the left, I could say it looks a lot better than the first one, I guess. I mean, the face does look a bit more smaller, but there are still a few problems to it. Like, the ears are still pretty disproportionate, and the mouth looks really lopsided. Also, the background looks a bit distracting, seeing as how it has the exact same marker strokes as my character's colors. So, yeah. So then there's the realistic portrait, and I gotta say, this actually looks kind of cool. I mean, sure, it doesn't really look that realistic, but there are a few things that actually do make up for his drawing, such as the really good shadowing and the non-distracting background. So I don't really have too much to complain about with this drawing. The only complaints I have are mostly with the face. For instance, the pupils are very uneven within sides, and the mouth could be a bit bigger. But yeah, despite all that, I actually think this looks pretty good. So overall, I really do like these drawings, especially the one on the right. So then there's this self-portrait. Now, you guys probably notice how my hair looks a lot different here, and I can explain that. So at one point, I decided to get a different haircut because I was just tired of having the same haircut for about 15 years now. And yeah, it looks kind of different now, as you can see here. It's been growing ever since, and yeah, it's pretty cool that I have a new haircut. But the only side effect, however, is I just can't wear hats anymore. And it's really sad because I remember like last year I was always wearing like hats. Like every time I went outside, I was always wearing a hat, mostly a flat cap. I have this whole collection of hats along with hats that I actually made myself, and now I just can't wear them anymore because I have this new hairstyle and I want people to see it. So anyways, this is what we call a crash test dummy in our art class, and this is actually when I learned to draw actual realistic faces. I gotta say, I'm really glad, seeing how this came out, because it actually looks really good. The only issue that I have with this, however, is again, it looks kind of lopsided. I think one thing that I should work on is learning to draw with good posture, because it feels like most of the time whenever I draw something, it usually looks pretty lopsided, and it's mostly because of the fact that I'm usually slouching or sitting the wrong way whenever I'm like drawing, like when I'm sitting on my chair. And I think I just really need to work on my back posture so they can stop looking so lopsided like this. But overall, I find this self-portrait to be really great. So this is my most recent self-portrait. It actually took me a few weeks to make, but I really do love this. I really do love how it came out. I know I said that about the last one, but this looks way more realistic than, the other portraits, because there's just so much realism put into this, and the shadowing and lighting is very accurate as well. You'll probably notice that the background is both red and black. And the reason why I chose those 2 colors for my background is mostly because I was inspired by this guy named Alejandro Macias. And if you don't know who Alejandro Macias is, he's this Mexican-American artist. He mostly does paintings. And looking at the guy's paintings, you notice a few things about him. Like, for starters, he seems to be very proud of being Mexican-American. Also, he seems to have a really good sense of humor looking at stuff like this. Oh, and also, when you look at his paintings, you'll notice how a lot of them seem to have, maybe 1 or 2 colors, just a few colors, and that pretty much inspired me to just use a few colors from my background. But yeah, overall, I really do love this drawing. The facial positions along with the shadowing are very accurate, and it looks so realistic. But again, I just need to fix my posture when I'm drawing stuff like this, otherwise it's just gonna look really lopsided. Okay, so those are all of my self-portraits from art class. I hope you guys enjoyed this presentation. My name's Tyler Gregory, and don't be a stranger. Have a nice day.